Well, I know this YouTube channel is about sailing Vesper on the Chesapeake Bay. And today we're doing neither. We're neither going to be on Vesper, our Ericson 32-3 sailboat, and neither are we on the Chesapeake Bay. Where are we, Beverly?
Saint Petersburg.
We're in Saint Petersburg, Florida, because we're on vacation. But today, we are going to be sailing on an Ericson 32. The name of the boat is Bumbugo. And we're going to be sailing with the owners, Penny and Rob, right here out of downtown St. Petersburg.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great.
I wore my official Ericson shirt, so you would know who I was.
We don't have them yet. My husband.
Nice to meet you.
Penny.
Penny. My wife is coming. We were at the marina store.
Oh, right there.
Talking to somebody behind the desk about how wonderful it is to have a boat here in St. Petersburg.
We love it because we're only 10 minutes away.
Are you really?
So, hi, I'm Penny.
Hi, I'm Beverly.
Nice to meet you. We went, but we're going to go all the way to the end.
Okay.
And
all right, here we go. Lots of boats here. I think I've seen this boat before.
On board.
I would say we have...
How you do, Rob?
86 as well?
We have an 87.
Okay.
Your hull number is 704.
Yeah.
Ours is 722.
So what differences do you see right off the bat? Anything?
Well, the stripes on the side are the markings on the side are a little different. Okay?
Yeah. They changed them in 85. They were a little different too.
Yeah.
Like we have a double cove stripe. 85's had a single cove stripe that was fat.
Yes, we have ours is 87, and we have a large single stripe. Okay.
Okay. And then the boot stripe, we have a double boot stripe.
We have a single boot stripe.
Hi, Beverly.
Rob.
I stripped the little decals off the side, and I have, if you look on our site, I have one big gigantic Ericson decal on the stern.
Yeah, we thought about doing that.
And our name is on the side.
Our names are on the side.
Because I thought somebody's going to want to see us. They're going to want to look at the sides, not the stern.
Right. When I started racing on Tuesday nights, this guy, Brian, invited me to sail on Compass 47. And I was like, well, it was summertime, so the St. Pete Yacht Club does twilight races during the summer on Friday nights. So I was like, well, Friday nights, my husband doesn't sail, and I don't really want to leave him on a Friday night. That's a bad night to leave your husband at home. And they said, well, bring him along. And started racing on the Compass, and Rob and I and Brian became the core crew. And I think we raced for about 5 years on that boat.
No.
No?
About 3.
3?
Yeah.
I think it's longer.
Not 2019, 2020, and 2021.
Yeah. So, and Rob, Rob learned to sail. He was a jib trimmer, and I trimmed the main, and Brian with tactics and stuff. And so, but the owner, who had found that boat derelict and completely rebuilt it, had always talked about selling. I'm going to sell my boat. I'm going to sell my boat. It's more boat than I need. And I started thinking, well, I don't want to have to find a boat to go sailing on, do the whole thing. Hey, you need crew, you need crew. Right. So I said, we're buying a boat. And Robert said, okay. And so we started looking.
No, that's not exactly what I said. I said, really?
What? We're doing what?
So anyway, we started looking, and it was about the time of COVID, and it was really hard to go see boats that weren't local.
Oh.
Travel somewhere. And but our friend Brian, we call him the finder. He was always sending me boats. He was always looking for boats, and he was always sending me ads and stuff. And we looked at a lot of boats. He came along a few times. Charles might have come once or twice, but never really found the right boat. We started with the older boats. Like I love, there's a Pearson Vanguard at the front there.
Mhm.
Beautiful boat, and we looked at some older Morgans, and we got some advice from a very knowledgeable Morgan guy.
Named Morgan.
Named Charlie Morgan.
How convenient.
Not to buy a project boat. We were too old to buy a project boat, and we'd spend more time working on it than we would enjoying it. So, so we just kept looking and upped our budget. And our friend Brian sent us the ad for this boat, which we had looked at about 6 or 8 months ago, but it was more than we were going to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And now it was in our price range. And when we first saw it, it was in south of here,
No, it was in Sarasota.
over here, and it had been sold, and the new owner had only owned it for 9 months, and he decided to sell it. His kids wanted him to buy a boat because they had been sailing when they were kids, as a family, and now they were adults, and with nothing to do with COVID, they were home. They said, "Dad, we should do that again." So he bought a boat, and then they never came around.
Oh.
So he got stuck with maintaining and everything, so he decided to put it back up for sale. And it was over in Stewart, and we went over and just fell in love with it because of the condition.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't know too much about Ericson's. It wasn't on my list of boats to look at.
Were you impressed by about the build quality of the Ericsons?
Well,
The condition of the decks
conditions of
is
the
what
decks
sold
were the
us.
big thing.
Okay.
Every other boat we'd seen needed a lot of work on the deck,
Yeah,
soft
this is
spots.
Oh, really? Okay.
The condition of the condition down below, really not a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
We had seen a Pearson about the same year, which we really kind of liked, but it had so much gear on it, so many. There was air conditioning, electric toilet, all the stuff. I was like overwhelmed by the amount of maintenance that was gonna take.
It was too expensive.
And it was a little bit more than we wanted to pay. And I didn't like the lines of it too. It was bulkier.
Yeah.
And so we saw this and made an offer and did a little dickering and did some sea trials and got down a little bit more on the price and helped that there was an engine issue on the sea trial, so we got a little bit more off.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought it and brought it around. And well, just before we were leaving to go get the boat to sail it around from the other coast, our friend Brian, the finder, sent us an ad for the whisker pole. And so it was the perfect size. So
Well,
got
it came
that.
in really handy too,
Yeah.
because when we brought the boat around, Stewart, Florida is approximately east, a little south, but on the east coast. And so we were going all the way down through the Keys and back up.
Oh, wow.
And we had a stretch where we were wing and wing with the whisker pole up, downwind, nice trailing seas, surfing for 11 and a half hours. Never turned the engine on, put it on autopilot, and we were just for 11 and a half solid
Wow.
hours. That's
So,
true.
and then
Very true.
the only real system that this boat has, other than, chart plotter, which is old, is a fairly new Raymarine autopilot. And
Okay. This is the same kind I have.
and
What we have.
that steered us most of the way under downwind.
So, what, 3 years?
Year and a half. It'll be two years
Okay.
in April,
Yeah.
beginning
A
of
year
Yeah,
and a
we've
half,
had Vesper 15 years. like that.
17,
What's it called?
Vesper.
Vesper.
Ah,
Vesper.
17 years.
That might have been on our list.
It's a drink in a James Bond movie. It's a
evening prayers.
Right.
evening prayer, which is basically the main reason we named it
I
Vesper.
like that. That's
Because
awesome.
if you look at I designed a logo and it has a star in it,
Yeah.
and so it's like the evening star.
Yeah.
After coffee, we pulled out of the slip and headed out into Tampa Bay for a sail. Because the winds were light, Penny and Rod said that they would be using a special sailing technique, one I never heard of before.
Brian, I started singing My Jibbaloney Has a First Name. And then, so that became a new sailing maneuver, Jibbaloney. And then we've subsequently had people that are experienced sailors go, Jibbaloney, I never heard that. So she was telling you that we used to race on this boat, Surge, 47-foot compass. And when the wind was blowing and you had a long enough course, nobody could touch that boat. It's a real blue water boat. Nearest boat was 2 miles behind us. We just slaughtered.
That's pretty good.
So we got back to Tampa, and his slip was right over there. And we used to, we were all down below having some rum, celebrating our victory. And the brand of rum is called Bamboo. So
that bottle.
Right around this time, this is when we were starting to really get serious about looking for a boat and finding a boat. And so our friend Brian is one of the crew. We're all down below. He gets up to pour everybody another round, and the bottle was empty. And he goes, "Hey, where'd the Bamboo go?" And I said, "That's our boat name right there." And so
All right.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, we like that sound.
We had a nice sail back for about 2/3 of the way back, and then the wind died.
When you guys want to work on the bottom, or have work on the bottom done, where do you take it?
There's a whole bunch of boatyards back in there.
Okay.
on our right here, you'll see an entrance into another harbor. It's called Bayboro Harbor. And then there's Salt Creek runs off of the harbor. There's a bunch of boatyards up there. We had our bottom job recently done at one called Salt Creek
How often do you have to have it done here?
Marina.
You probably need to do it every 2 years.
Every 2 years. Okay, that's about what we do.
We have
Yeah,
our
we
bottom
have it.
cleaned twice a month.
In fact, they're recommending that we have our bottom soda blasted.
We had that.
We had
The grass
thousands of
grows, and
blisters.
you wanna
Thousands.
try
Did you
to
really?
avoid,
Turned out to be a $7,500 bottom job
Wow.
because they had to
like the
blast it
oysters or the
and ferret,
barnacles
sand it,
on it.
ferret, sand it,
Yeah.
ferret,
Wow.
and then finally put
But if we
the
weren't racing,
barrier coat and the.
we probably
So
could
did
go
you know that after it was pulled out
We
of the
knew
water?
it had some blisters from the survey, but we didn't know it was quite that extensive.
Okay. What little wind we had soon died away. But then we were treated to a surprise visit. Something very unexpected. Well, maybe not in Tampa Bay. Wow.
Buddy.
Oh, that was a good one. Look at him. There he goes under the, he's going the other side.
There he goes.
With the wind all but gone, there was not much else to do except motor back to the dock and exchange sailing stories on the way.
We did that whole thing with our fender off. What a bunch of rookies. So probably 15, 20 miles out. It was going from one dive site to another. And all of a sudden,
One came right up, headed straight to the boat, dove under, and came up at the stern, rolled over, and waved his big fluke. I mean, his eyeball was just looking at us. You could
All boaters experience docking anxiety, especially when somebody's looking. but it's worse when somebody's filming.
Tap reverse.
Even though there wasn't much wind, we still had a great time with Rob and Penny, exchanging stories about our Ericson sailboats. Thanks for watching.